how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Pop's Movie Dungeon. This is going to be week number 2 of my 31 screens of October, where I'm going to let you know what movies I watched from October the 10th through October the 16th. Now, I have been under the weather this week. I hadn't been feeling well all week, so I hadn't made any other videos, so I do apologize for that. This is going to be the first video I've made in almost a week. But I have been able to watch a movie every single day while I've been resting up here at the house. And this is going to be just a quick overview of what I watched. Now, this may not be as long as last week's video. I'm going to try to keep this real short and sweet. Just kind of show you what I watched to give you my quick thoughts on the movie. But let's go ahead and get started, guys. So the first movie I watched this week was a Scream Factory Collector's Edition of Night of the Demons. Now, this movie here, guys, is just a great time. If you've never seen this, this is a high recommend for me. Definitely not for the acting, but if you want a good 80s cheesy horror movie, you're not going to find much better than this. Now, this is a 1988 movie directed by Kevin Tenney, and this movie stars Hal Havens, Allison Barron, and Alvin Alexis. And I'm just going to let you know right now that I had not seen this movie in years, and I forgot what a good time it was. Now, watching this movie, it's very cringeworthy. The acting is just not good. It's got really good practical effects from the 80s. I mean, something that I just really love. I really love this time period of horror movies. And it really takes me back to the old days of going to a video store, picking up a crappy movie off the shelf, going home, with some buddies, and just watching these movies and having a good time. And that's basically what this movie's known for. This movie had a very limited release when it came out, but it was a financial success, even though it was very limited. But since then, this movie has got a really big cult following, and I can see myself revisiting this every Halloween. This movie was really a good time. So I'll go ahead and open this up, real guys, so you guys can see what the artwork looks like. I think that's the old cover there. And this is a dual disc. You got a Blu-ray and a DVD. And it's got the reversible artwork that Scream Factory is known for. That's the new artwork that Scream Factory put out for this. So guys, if you do not own this collector's edition here, but I would recommend trying to pick this up. And if you've never seen it, guys, give it a watch. It may not be for everybody, but if you're a fan of these 80s cheesy horror movies the way I am, I mean, this is something that I'm just glad to have in my collection. So day number 2, I watched an absolute Halloween classic. This is something I feel like that should be in everybody's list of stuff to watch in October. So this is the collector's edition of Trick or Treat. And this is arguably one of the greatest Halloween movies ever made. One of the best Halloween anthology movies ever made. And I am a huge fan of this movie. And, ironically enough, this movie is something that I was only introduced to maybe 3 years ago. And I think I've watched every Halloween since. And this movie here is just a lot of fun, guys. This came out in 2007. It was directed by Michael Dougherty. It stars Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, and Dylan Baker. And this movie is just an absolute blast. And Sam there is he's just a horror icon. And if you go into any of the Spirit Halloween shops, you're going to see him just plastered everywhere. This movie has got a huge following, guys, and I can understand why. I mean, this movie is just a great time. So if you guys have never seen this, I would highly recommend you adding this to your list. I mean, what can I say about this movie that hadn't already been said? I mean, the stories are absolutely great. It's just done well. It's just nothing but a good time, guys. There's the front and the back of the artwork there. But this is the movie that I watch every Halloween, and I knew it was going to land somewhere in my 31 screens of October. And I happened to watch this one on October the 12th, guys. So this is one that I had a good time with, and yeah, check this one out. This is a great movie. Big fan of this movie, guys. All right, the next movie I watched this week is a movie I had not seen in years. I might have seen this movie quite a few times, but it has been a while. And that is the classic, The Amityville Horror. And of course, this is the Scream Factory release. It comes with this great box set here. And this was out of print, but I managed to get this on Amazon. Still brand new. I mean, the box was a little beat up, but other than that, it was in pretty good condition. But guys, about this one here, this is a movie that came out in 1979. It was directed by Stuart Rosenberg, and it stars Thanos Sr., James Brolin, Margaret Kidder, and Rod Steiger. And this is just an absolute 70s horror classic. And I know a lot of people, may not be real big fans of this movie because it is a little slow. But this is one of the greatest haunted house movies ever made. They say basically based on a true story. Now you take that with, for what you will. For me, part of me wants to believe that, yeah, this is based on a true story. That's kind of cool. But the other side of me don't really want to think about that too much because this is a pretty creepy ass movie. And James Brolin's fantastic in this. I mean, he was a great actor. I'm not very familiar with his work on anything else. I think this may be, I'm not sure, but I think this may be the only thing I've ever seen him in. That's what the inside of the artwork looks like, guys. But this movie, I had a really good time revisiting this movie. And this does not have reversible artwork, but that's what you get on the other side, just some shots from the movie. And I think that may be some of the classic posters or maybe lobby cards there on one side. So guys, the basic premise of this movie is you have two newlyweds played by James Brolin and Margaret Kidder. And Margaret Kidder has 3 children, it looks like, from a previous relationship. And James Brolin is like the new husband, new stepdad. Well, they move into this house where a terrible murder had taken place. So shortly after they move into this house, they start to experience strange, inexplicable manifestations which have strong effects on everyone living in or visiting the house. And like one of the classic scenes is when the priest comes to kind of bless the house, and he gets attacked by the flies. Everybody that's seen the movie knows that scene. And of course, you have the bleeding walls and the famous "Get Out," which if I'd heard that the first time, I'd have been gone. But this movie, guys, I've said it's a classic. If you've never seen it and you're a horror fan, it's one that you got to see at least once. It may not be for everybody. I know it's a little slower paced movie, but I really enjoy going back and revisiting this movie, guys. I was glad to add it to my list. And I felt like this is a movie here that I could see myself watching maybe once every couple years and having a good time with it. Now, the next movie on my list actually was not going to be on my list, but I got a recommendation from Brian Goes Blue. And when I told him because what I do with these movies, guys, is every time I watch a movie, what I'm going to watch that day, I always advertise on Instagram and my letterbox. And when I said I was going to be watching this, Brian Goes Blue had commented on my Instagram saying that his favorite haunted house movie was Amityville 2, The Possession, which also came in the same box set, but I had never seen this. I've never seen part 2. So I decided to go in and make a 2-day marathon of these Amityville movies. And so this movie here, and I have to agree with Brian on this, as much as I do like this movie, what a classic it is, I have to agree with him and say that this may be my favorite Amityville movie so far. Now I say that, I've only seen 3 Amityville movies. I've seen the original, I've now seen this one, and I've seen the Ryan Reynolds remake. I haven't seen the other movie that comes in this box set, which is Amityville 3D, which I have to think that's probably pretty cheesy, but I don't know anything about this, guys. So you guys let me know below what y'all know about this movie here. And also back there on the Vinegar Syndrome box set with the other Amityville movies in it. I haven't seen any of those yet. But after watching this one here, I'm definitely going to go through and watch the rest of them here sometime. It may not be this October, but sometime soon I'm going to go through and watch the rest of the Amityville movies. But guys, this movie here was an absolute blast. And the first thing about this thing that I noticed is, we'll just start from the beginning here. So guys, this movie came out in 1982. It was directed by an Italian director, which I'm probably going to say his name wrong. Demanio Domani, if I'm saying that right. But the interesting thing is, this movie was written by Tommy Lee Wallace, who directed, for you Halloween fans out there, he directed Season of the Witch, Halloween 3. And he was I believe the writer and producer and editor for the original Halloween movie. And he also did the Stephen King miniseries of It in the early 90s. So I am a fan of Tommy Lee Wallace, but I was not aware, or I did not remember that he was involved in this movie. And so going into this, when I seen his name pop up on the screen, I was pretty excited about that. He kind of got me on board. So this movie is basically a prequel to the original Amityville Horror. It is basically about a dysfunctional family that moves into a new house, which proves to be satanic, resulting in the demonic possession of their teenage son. This movie stars James Olsen, Burt Young, as you know as Paulie from the Rocky movies, Rutanya Adi, probably saying that wrong too, Jack Magner, and Diane Franklin. Now, you probably recognize Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and The Last American Virgin. And I also didn't know that she was in this movie, and I don't think I had seen her in anything else. So there was a welcome surprise seeing her in this. And I was really blown away with how much I really enjoyed this movie. And I could see myself going back and watching this one again before I watched the original Amityville Horror. That's how much I liked it. But the practical effects on this movie and the tension and everything was just done so well in this movie. The acting was good. It holds up. I mean, you're not really going to be going into this for the dramatic acting, but the acting was actually pretty good for an early 80s horror movie. And the story was really good. I was really invested, and it really creeped me the hell out. When the son finally got, possessed, and he starts going around, attacking his family, it was pretty intense. And the last act of this movie is just batshit crazy. And it's one that I really enjoyed. So this is one that I highly recommend, guys. If you've never seen part 2 to the Amityville Horror, go out and watch the original Amityville first, and then go check this one out here. But there's a reason why there's so many fans of this movie, and I'm definitely one of those fans now, guys. Again, the next movie I watched was the new Scream Factory 4K of the classic John Carpenter's Halloween. And guys, like this artwork, don't like this artwork. I actually am a fan of this artwork. Now, there's some of the other ones, and I did manage to get all the movies in. I finally got them all in. It took a while. And all I did was order the movies with the posters. I didn't order any of the other stuff, whatever. I just got just the movies themselves. So I was happy to finally get these in. And I do have to agree with everybody else that definitely looks like Nicolas Cage to me. So I thought that was kind of funny. But past that, and also along with everybody else, I feel like that is probably definitely without a doubt my favorite cover. So these hard cases are just absolutely fantastic. I'm very excited about owning these movies. The only gripe that I have with these guys is I had 2 of these that came with these damn recyclable cases. Now that is absolutely ridiculous. For as much as we paid for these 4Ks, that is absolutely inexcusable. And I've already ordered cases to replace these recycled cases, but it's a damn shame that we got to do this after paying this much money for these releases. So Scream Factory, you dropped the ball on that. That actually sucks. And I'm a fan of Scream Factory. I support these guys, but stuff like that is just ridiculous. But that's enough of a rant about that. I know there's other people that's had the same thing happen to them, and it's so weird. It's not on every release. It wasn't on every single movie, but for me, it was Halloween 3, and Halloween 5 had a regular case. Halloween 4 had the recycle case. And yeah, the rest of them were fine. So for me, it was Halloween 4 and Halloween 3. And so I don't know why that was, but guys, just no reason at all that any of these movies with these special collector's edition boxes should have those recyclable cases. Enough about that. So get back to what I watched, guys. I watched the Halloween 4K here. And I can say one thing about this. Being a fan of the artwork, if you're not a fan of the artwork, one thing that I feel like most people have to agree on, these actual the actual audio and video quality of this release is absolutely fantastic. So I put this movie in, and as soon as that music started, that new Dolby Atmos track, it's the best this movie's ever sounded to me. It's the best it's ever looked to me. And I have this movie on 4K also, the Steelbook that came out last year. But I do believe that this is the best I've ever seen it. So I have no complaints whatsoever. I haven't dug through all the special features. I watched the release that comes on the 4K Ultra Disc. I haven't watched any of the other releases that are on this thing. I haven't really went through the special features or anything yet. And as you can see there's quite a few special features on this thing. And if I ain't careful, I'm going to be giving a full review of this movie here as far as the features and the Scream Factory release. And I don't want to do that. I just want to show you guys what I watched. But just to let you know, I'm not going to do a review on these because there is so many reviews on these movies out there right now. I didn't see no reason for me to add my thoughts on it. I agree with what most people are saying about them. And I've only watched this one and these 4K releases so far. And I'm telling you right now, this is worth the money. I had a great time watching this. I absolutely love the audio and video on this movie here. Very happy with that, guys. So barring the couple recyclable cases, the packaging on these, the artwork's not terrible. It's kind of grown on me a little bit. Super glad I bought these guys. So that's what I watched. And I mean, what can I say about Halloween? Anybody watching the channel surely has seen this movie. One of the absolute horror classics. Everybody knows this is directed by John Carpenter. There's not really anything I can add, guys. I watched this one here, and then after this one, I watched the 2018 movie again just to kind of get ready for Halloween Kills. And yeah, this was without a doubt the best thing I watched this week. I mean, this was a fun movie to rewatch in 4K. Super glad I got this, guys. All right. I could talk about that for another 30 minutes, but we're gonna move on to the next day here. So on the next day, I watched Scream Factory Collector's Edition of Idle Hands. Now, this movie came out in 1999, and it was directed by Rodman Flender. It stars Devon Sawa, Seth Green, Eldon Hansen, Jessica Alba, and I always say this name wrong, guys, so y'all forgive me. Vivacia A. Fox. Am I saying that right? You know what I'm talking about. So this is a very 90s cast movie. This movie was a good time. I think I only seen this in theaters when it came out. I don't think I've seen it since. I'm not 100% sure, but it's been a while since I've seen it. I was really enjoying the back and forth with Devon Sawa, Seth Green, and Eldon Hansen, and they were a lot of fun. just a couple, you know, lazy stoners laying around, you know, shooting the shit. It was actually fun back and forth. I really enjoyed that part. The movie's okay. I mean, I'm going to tell you that whenever his hand gets possessed, I mean, basically the premise of this movie is 17-year-old slacker Anton Tobias wakes up one Halloween morning to discover that both of his parents have been turned into two headless Halloween decorations. After speaking to his equally irresponsible friends, he discovers that his right hand has a bloodthirsty mind of its own and is hell-bent on wreaking havoc whether he likes it or not. So the basic premise of the movie is his right hand gets possessed. And he's going around basically trying to, you know, not let his hand kill people. And the part where this movie kind of lost it for me is just after about 15 minutes of him trying to control the hand and everything, it just didn't. It got old pretty quick, guys. I mean, I laughed a few times in this movie. You know, it was enjoyable. It's not one that I see me going back and watching very often. I mean, just simply because it's just a little too silly for me. And I like crazy, silly-ass movies, but just something about just the way he reacted to his hand after about 10 or 15 minutes, it got pretty stale. The best part of this movie is definitely Seth Green. I mean, the back and forth between him and Eldon Hanson after both of them, spoiler alert, after both of them get killed. Their back and forth, whatever, is Ghost, whatever, is the best part of this movie by far. Jessica Alba, I mean, she's obviously good to look at, but I mean, past that, you know, she's never been one of my favorite actresses by no means. But yeah, the movie's okay. If you've never seen it, I would say watch it once. I mean, it's a pretty good horror comedy as far as that goes. But just beware that I feel like after about 15 minutes, you're going to be done with the way he's reacting to his hand. It's the kind of thing that Bruce Campbell can pull off in The Evil Dead, but I don't know. This movie here just didn't quite do it for me. When it was over with, I was pretty much ready for it to be over with, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's really all I got to say about it, guys. It was a good release. I mean, they got some pretty decent special features. I didn't go through all of them. I know this movie has a cult following, and I can understand that. I mean, there are some fun parts about this movie for sure. Yeah, this was just going to be an okay for me. Not one that I'm going to go back to and watch very often. And I kind of hated that, guys, because I was looking forward to seeing this, because I remember this movie being better than that. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't my thing. All right, so ending up week number 2, the last movie I watched was the Scream Factory Collector's Edition of Child's Play. Absolute classic movie. I mean, this is up there with the Freddys and the Jasons and the Michael Myers. I mean, this is just a classic franchise for me. And this is a movie I probably watch every Halloween at least, if not more often than that. I mean, I really love Child's Play. I'm a big Chucky fan. I mean, this movie originally came out in 1988, and there's not really much I can say about this movie, guys. I mean, everybody knows Child's Play, but I mean, this movie came out in 1988, directed by Tom Holland. He's one of my favorite writer-directors. He's been involved in some of my favorite horror movies, such as Fright Night, Psycho 2, Thinner. I mean, he's just to name a few. I mean, he's an absolute talent. I mean, I love Tom Holland. I'm a huge fan. And Child's Play is no exception. I mean, this is just an absolutely fantastic movie. And this movie stars Catherine Hicks, Chris Sarandon, which everybody knows is the vampire from Fright Night, one of my favorite vampires of any vampire movie. And of course, Chucky is voiced by the great Brad Dourif. And I mean, he does such a great job with this character. I mean, he just brings so much life to the Chucky doll. I mean, I couldn't imagine anybody else doing as good a job as he did. And like a lot of people, the Child's Play remake that came out a couple years ago, I think Mark Hamill did a fine job, voicing that character. But Chucky being voiced by Brad Dourif, I mean, that's where it's at for me. There's really no replacements for that. As much as I love Mark Hamill, I mean, that's where it's at right there, guys. Movie. Real fast synopsis: serial killer Charles Lee Ray, he's into voodoo and stuff like that. As he's dying, he puts his soul inside the Chucky doll. And everybody knows the story, guys. This is just a classic franchise, one that is just an absolute blast. It holds up. I enjoyed it as much last night as I always enjoy it. I have nothing but good things to say about this, guys. I mean, if you look right there in the blue, the special features on this disc, Scream Factory did a fantastic job with this. I had an absolute blast, guys, like I said. If you hadn't seen Child's Play, I mean, come on, where you guys been at? I mean, this is just a movie that is an absolute staple for any horror fan. So I was very glad to add this into my 31 screens, guys. That is going to finish up my week number 2 of my 31 screens of October. So guys, I apologize if I've been dragging a little bit through this video. I still ain't feeling 100%, but I do feel much better. And I'm looking forward to making some more videos for you this week. I'm kind of getting everything back on track here. But I appreciate you guys watching this, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on week number 3 of my 31 Screams, and I will have another update video for you guys real soon. Everybody take care and have a great week.